Welcome to Career Development and Calling's Myers-Briggs Type Indicator presentation. It's important for this presentation that you have your results and a blank sheet of paper in front of you. Jot down your notes and observations because this lecture will help you understand your results and the notes you take will help you write your paper. At the end of this presentation, you should be able to understand how your type relates to how you take in information and make decisions, recognize the benefit of diversity of types, understand your personal strengths and shortcomings of your type, develop strategies to work with those who have opposite preferences from your own, and consider how your unique type relates to your future career. These are the 4 dimensions of type. First, how we interact with the world and where do we direct our energy, I and E. Next, the kind of information we naturally notice first, that is S and N. How do we make decisions, T and F. And then lastly, how do we organize our external world, J and P. So first, let's get into it. How do you direct your energy? Refer to that image on the left and notice which one you gravitate towards more. Are you energized by other people and external experiences? Or are you more energized by the inner resources and internal experiences? Here's an activity to see how this all fits. So let's suppose the head of your school decides to cancel all classes and all homework assignments for the day. What would you decide to do with your day off? Grab that blank sheet of paper and write down your answer. This would be your ideal free day and how you would like to spend it. This is a slide that has information for each of the types. Notice, read through each side of the slide to see which one you connect with more. What we want you to keep in mind is that the I and E spectrum is a lot less like a coin flip and it's so much more like a dial. So it's possible for you to have extroverted qualities as well as introverted qualities. Pay attention to which outnumbers the other. On your results, you'll be able to see a percentage of how much or how clear this shows. If it's a very small bar, that means you could really be an E or an I, and you've got qualities from both. If it has a really strong bar to the right or to the left, that means your preference is very strong for introversion or extroversion. So I'll give you a minute to read through all of these and write down the bullet points you connect with the absolute most. So next, we're going to look at how do you take in information? Refer to the image on the left and see, are you more hands-on with the parts to see overall design? Or do you study the overall design to see how all the parts fit together? Another way to think about this is, do you think about the end before you start? Or do you really want to start at step 1, step 2, and step 3? So here's an example. Take a minute to look at this art and pay attention to what details you take note of first. What we know about those observations is those who are preference towards S take in information using their 5 senses. You would have likely noticed the color, you would have likely noticed it looked like it was rainy, the lights, you would have noticed the couple, the benches, the location of the painting. Those who have a leniency towards N would have drawn some sort of a feeling, would have probably created a story around the image that we showed. Really look at the big picture. Would probably mention the couple. Maybe they just started going on a walk after a rainy day. Are they talking about something? They would typically garner more of a conceptual observation from a painting like that. So pay attention to what your observations were more tied to, and then also look at this list to see which bullet points do you connect with more, and which side more bullets are more prominent in. So next, let's look at how you're making decisions. Do you see things as an onlooker from an outside of a situation, really objective? Or do you see things as a participant from like within a situation, putting yourself in the other person's shoes? Here's an activity that gives you an example for what we're talking about. So, pretend that you are a coach of a Little League T-ball team of 10 preschoolers. Remember, preschoolers are very young. Your team wins a paid trip to Disneyland. The only catch is only 7 of those 10 can go. It is up to you to decide who gets to go on this trip and who stays behind. Take a minute, write down on your blank sheet of paper how you will come to this decision. Take a minute to do that, write down how your process will be, figure out what's coming to mind, what are you thinking of first, and then we'll convene on the next slide. So how did you end up coming to your decision? Were you able to make a decision? What we've noticed in lecture is those with T oftentimes are one, able to reach a decision, and two, are very much happy with how fair it is. And so whether that being figuring out how to do it, some sort of a drawing, perfect attendance, getting permission to see if all 10 can even go, T's are usually able to get there sooner. Those who have F really are aching for the 3 that maybe not be able to go. So they're really trying to figure out how we can get the 3 to go. Should we fundraise? Should you pay out of your own pocket to get those 3 to go? Or really you're wrestling with the decision and maybe haven't been able to make one yet. So that's the contrast that we've noticed. Those with T are really trying to approach fairness in a very objective way. And then F, really look at things in situational basis and really do have feelings that come up with tough decisions such as this. So again, just like the other slides, look at the 2 columns, the right and the left, to see which has more bullet points that you connect with. Remember, you're going to connect with both sides at times, or not so much. That depends on the degree, but we're more of a dial here instead of a coin flip. Lastly, the final letter talks about how do you organize your external world. Do you really appreciate definite order and structure, or do you really appreciate going with the flow? Here's an activity. Write down on your blank sheet of paper what your weekend plans are. Take a minute to do that. Really write out what you've got going on, and I'll see you on the next slide. So, how is it writing out your plans? How specific were they? If you were a J, it was likely to be pretty specific in the things that you do have planned. you know that maybe you're going to be babysitting on Saturday or that you have brunch plans on Sunday. That would typically by now be planned out. That would be something that you've already got in your mind. Jays don't like last minute pressures. They don't like last minute changes in plans. That can be a little bit more difficult. Now, if you're a P, you'd probably go with the flow, meaning, oh, I don't know, at some point I'm going to do my 2 assignments and then I'm going to eat lunch. Not sure particularly what exact time that'll be. And then at some point, I'm going to go hang out with my friends, but we'll see what that looks like. So you might have ideas of what's going to be going on, but you haven't compartmentalized that into a particular time, a particular day. Um, if you're probably meeting up with a J, that's likely established, but you really like the idea of being able to sketch some of this stuff and be spontaneous about it. So here, look at both of these columns to see which one you lean towards more. I do want to acknowledge that sometimes with school and work and balancing commitments, the society and the world really do, gear everyone towards J just so that you fit everything, right? Just so that you're able to show up to all things. But if you're a P, if every chance you get to not make a plan, you're really wanting to see how you feel and then make a decision in the moment. So now we've looked at the top 4 letters and we've walked you through examples so that you've been able to get some tangible experience towards each of these personality angles. Now, the career report will go into detail about strategies on how to explore the healthcare career that you're interested in, knowing that these 4 angles of your type, knowing how you're wanting to make decisions, what's important to you, what to watch out for. There's also a listing of some things that you could probably work on, being that your preferences are what they are. So really take the time to leaf through all the pages and read thoroughly on some of the strategies that will be helpful for you as you explore healthcare careers. Now, these are the things that we would like you to keep in mind. If you disagree with your results, write about that in your paper. That's important to keep in mind and to be aware of, especially after a lecture like this. Now, if you would like to, please schedule to meet with a career specialist for an individualized session, because we could talk about what it is that isn't quite adding up or what it is that isn't sounding as like you as we'd want your personality type to. Next, I also want to mention that the job families page will rank, certain industries or certain job types that might be more appealing or more of a fit for your personality type. I do want to acknowledge if healthcare is not in your top section, that is absolutely okay. The assessment really just looks at trends for your personality type, but that doesn't mean you're meant to follow exactly what it says. And I'll tell you this, more times than not, you're going to find a variety of personality types in many different job industries. And so we wanted to make sure that you were aware of that as well. For individual appointments, please visit Career Development and Calling or log in to bethel.joinhandshake.com using your Bethel login information. There you'll be able to sign up for any of these appointment types, especially a Myers-Briggs one if that is the topic that you're hoping to talk about, and you will be able to access the calendars of all of our counselors who are available during your availability, and we'd be happy to speak with you further about any of the things that you're wanting support with in terms of career. We want you to know that you do not have to do this alone, this college experience, this setting up for the future that you'll have after Bethel. We're here for you and really want to support you in that. Lastly, here is your Myers-Briggs reflection paper. Use your notes from today along with your report to write a 2 to 3 page paper describing how your personality preferences will be utilized within the occupation that you're considering. Listed are the headings that we want you to include. First, results and reaction. Next, confirmation of results. Those were the activities that we did. What did you notice? Next is future. Next is utilization of type. How will that shine in your occupation? And lastly is action steps. What next? So refer to the rubric on the assignment doc on Moodle for your Myers-Briggs reflection paper. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.